like this gal. I'm gonna put. There we go.
There we go. We both have our plants as fans.
I know. I feel like she's grown since the last time.
Yeah, she's trying to grow into the frame. She
Yeah.
needs to be seen. All right.
All right.
Hi everyone.
Hey,
Welcome
everyone.
back.
We thought with this episode we would tell you a little bit more about our origin story and how we started.
So several years ago, it started as an Instagram page. So back when I was at one of my corporate jobs during COVID, the lockdowns, the working from home, needed some sort of creative outlet. So launched a page that was just kind of an outfit of the day, right? Dressing the woman, outfit of the day. It was really fun, just taking photos inside my apartment. And one night we were having burgers and martinis, which we do here in Hong Kong. Shout out to Diplomat.
I think we were known as the burgers and martinis girls when we walked in.
I think we were. I think they already knew. When
They
we
already
walked
knew.
in.
They
Yeah.
knew that we wanted burgers. 2 martinis, 2 burgers. Done with it.
And so there was one night, and whenever Deb and I would hang out, we'd talk for hours about personal style, and we talk about people we saw on the street that day, or we talk about something we were inspired by.
I also want to add that, like, you know, we connected on so many things when we met.
Yeah.
But personal style was really one of them, and not just because we loved clothes and we loved fashion, we loved kind of expressing ourselves that way. It was, we loved how empowering clothes can be, and how it can be used as a tool for just telling your story. Yeah, and I think that's what we could talk hours about that. You know, that connection of how someone presents with their life and their loves and their influences and all of those things.
Yeah.
I think is what we both connect with, because we connect with that personally.
And I don't even know how it came up, but we just were like, why aren't we just doing this together? Why aren't we doing Dressing the Woman together? And it just seemed like such a natural thing. And we're like, let's do it. Let's turn this into something bigger. And what can we do with this? And we really, I think at that point, really wanted to bring our point of view to the world and really kind of help people see themselves the way that we were seeing them, you know, like the fabulous people that they were, and how to bring this out with their personal style. And during this time, you know, because Deb and I are kind of deep into this topic, you discovered something that was actually has created the foundation of our approach, because it really resonated with how we think about personal style.
So the Kibbe framework is named after David Kibbe, and he developed the system, I believe, in the 80s, early 80s. If I'm not mistaken, I'll check. But he was a Hollywood stylist, but beyond that, he was a force of nature and a multi-hyphenate. And I love that, because I feel like he was ahead of his time, But he was most famous for writing a book about this system called Metamorphosis. And we've adopted it as very foundational to the Dressing the Woman approach. It's a framework for categorizing people, not just women, all people, into archetypes. And those archetypes, there's 5 main archetypes. Those archetypes are based on a combination of your tangible characteristics, like your physicality, but also your intangible characteristics, like your vibe, your energy, your personality, how you move, the thing that you exude that people don't see but they feel. And that so resonated with me, because we really believe that personal style originates from knowing those tangible and intangible things about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if I could interject, right? It kind of, if you've ever, you know, heard the phrase, you know, that outfit was wearing them, they were not wearing it. This kind of has to do with that, like vibe and essence. If you ever, you know, want to wear the same thing as maybe your friend is wearing, and it looks way different on you, but you are, you know, for all intents and purposes, same height, same size, same, you know, whatever, but it just looks different. That kind of speaks to this too. Right?
Totally. So in short, it is a framework that is on a spectrum. So the idea is that anyone could be any of the 5 archetypes or somewhere in between, because they all fall on a spectrum. And the ends of the spectrum are yin and yang. And so if you guys aren't familiar with the principles of yin and yang, at least as it relates to the Kibbe system, it's the idea of opposing opposite forces and how we all have a balance of yin and yang within us that is unique. And so yin qualities would be anything associated with softness, femininity,
roundness,
maybe passiveness. And then the yang qualities would be the opposite: sharpness, angles, boldness, more traditionally masculine qualities. And it's important to note too that when I say masculinity versus femininity, it doesn't mean you're more womanly or more manly. It is completely genderless.
right.
Because we all have that balance of femininity and masculinity within us, and that's what this system is based on. And we are also connected with that too, because one doesn't exist without the other. And understanding that harmony within yourself translates to how you present, and then the clothing that you choose to bring that out.
Yeah, and I think that is an important point, is that the masculine and feminine qualities everyone has. It exists in nature. Anything in nature has this as well, right? There's always a balance, and it's not about kind of where you identify, male, female. It's less male, female. It's more masculine, feminine qualities. And I think that's a really important point. You can be a very, female person, but have really dominant masculine qualities. And we'll kind of explain that in some of our archetypes that we talk about. So let's start on the one very extreme side. Let's start on the very yang side of the spectrum. So the first archetype there is the dramatic. It's called the dramatic archetype. What's the very first thing you notice about a dramatic archetype?
Definitely their height. So dramatics are always tall. And you notice their verticality right away. They're long-limbed. Sometimes they have longer faces, long legs, long bodies, and angular.
Yeah.
So a great example of a dramatic would be someone like Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
Show a little photo over here. So you can see she is angular, long, sharp in her demeanor, bold in that energy that she gives off, a bit otherworldly in her appearance. That is very characteristic of a dramatic. A male dramatic might be someone like Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, that kind of, there's an intensity to them.
Yep, and I really like the words bold, sharpness. You'll hear us when we talk about these archetypes talking about like first impression if someone were to come through the door. So with that kind of archetype, you get that kind of ooh, and maybe a little intimidating. And how might we then style a dramatic? What's the approach? Again, we've talked about the classification, but then how do we translate that into an approach that we would take for styling?
Yeah, so a dramatic essence type would look best in clothing that matches their boldness. It matches their angles, their masculinity, their boldness. So sharp tailoring gives those angles. Fabrics that have a bit more weight to them. So that denim, canvas, wool, leather. Yes. Fabrics that have that same boldness and intensity. Anything airy or anything soft or draping would not be enough on a dramatic. You would feel like falling flat, not matching their essence.
Yeah, it would feel like it's not enough weight or presence for their presence. Another thing too is because a dramatic is so vertical in terms of styling, things that have like a long, maybe deep V, a long necklace looks great, a dramatic in head to toe, like monochrome color.
I think to emphasize their verticality it looks great on a dramatic.
So we're always looking to kind of amplify your qualities, right? So once you've identified your qualities, the style principles should amplify those, bring them out more, and create more ownability.
Exactly.
All right, so moving down the spectrum, the edging more towards the yin, so bringing more yin into the balance, but still heavier still on the masculine is the
natural. Is the natural. I myself I'm a natural essence. More specifically, I'm a soft natural, but anyway, we're talking about just the 5 main types.
Yeah.
So a natural is characterized by an imbalance of yin yang. So they're more yang dominant. So there's more of a masculinity about them. There's more of, say, a boyishness about them.
Yeah.
And that comes across in their bone structure and in their vibe. Their bone structure will tend to be a bit broader, more athletic feeling.
Yeah.
Their vibe tends to be sunny, grounded, solid, that kind of feeling. So a great example of a natural is Britney Spears. So she has that sunny
Girl next door.
She's athletic. She may not be athletic, but you feel that they are athletic. Another example is Brad Pitt. Another example is Channing Tatum, Oprah Winfrey, who is a very different, you may not think, because she's so different from, say, Britney. But it drives home that it's not about your age, gender, race. It's really that essence that you exude.
Yeah, Jen Aniston is another, Jennifer Aniston. And so some of the things that we would do with a natural would be to dress them in probably more relaxed clothing, right? Because a natural has that relaxed presence. There's someone that, you'll notice if they come in through the door, they probably feel grounded, relaxed, unruffled, warm, inviting, comfortable, right? And so you'd want to pick those sorts of things for kind of the clothing that we would put them in.
But by relaxed, we don't necessarily mean casual.
No.
Just anything that feels worn in, lived in, moving away from the body.
Versus tight or close to the body, right? If you're like Deb and you're natural and you're wearing a button-down shirt, some feeling of it moving away from the body will look a lot chicer on her than something that's like closely tailored, stiff fabric, right? That won't work as well with her vibe. And then even how we style it, unbuttoned,
sleeves casually rolled up.
Yep.
I think things that feel lived in. In fact, they will look more put together in relaxed clothing than they would in traditionally dressed up or tailored clothing. I find that I'm also attracted to clothing that matches my essence. So that's another thing too, when we work with our clients, that we find that more often than not, they are drawn to things that do bring them out.
Yeah.
And then we judge and go, like, lean into that. You like that for a reason. It matches you.
That's a really good point. I mean, I think like when we've done like our client visits and we go to their wardrobe and they go, oh, I don't know who I am, I don't know how to dress, and we go and we're like, no, you feel this, because we'll go into their wardrobe and we'll see a through line, we'll see things that they're picking, but they don't quite know why, or they might not quite know how to really own that and lean into it and actually make that more their own. But we more often than not see that like there's something really subconscious that they are picking up on about themselves. So we just kind of help them see that more and then be able to own it.
And it's true of the opposite when we go into their wardrobe, when we see, or they say, oh, this does just, I don't know why I bought this. It doesn't feel like me. They don't know why, but we see why. It's fighting them.
Yep.
It's going against their essence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really important, right? Like, pay attention to your feelings. So when you wear something that is fighting your essence, you'll feel drained somehow. You'll feel resistance, and that's telling. And then there's this stuff that you always pick up. It's like, oh, I just need to run out the door. Like, what are you grabbing? That's usually something that is like really within, like, in resonance with like your essence, right? Like, what do you grab when you're like running out the door? If you're like, I need to go run an errand.
Well, my military jacket is like, I think really goes with everything, and it really just embodies my essence. I think just relaxed, in an earthy color. Yeah. Utilitarian in its use. It just goes with everything. Looks great.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Far from the boys.
Far from the boys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or a bag that is that's got a slouchy feel.
Yeah.
You know, like my everyday bag is that kind of softer leather. Throw that on. Yeah, as opposed to a structured bag, which looks better on you.
Yeah. Like when I have to run out the door quick, I'm like grabbing like a tailored button-down shirt and then like pairing it with like just some jeans, right? Like that's how I dress down, right? It's like jeans, tailored button-down, my jewelry, and then, you know, just some flats. That's like a casual, like I need to run out the door and go run an errand. And that speaks to my essence, which we'll get to in a minute. But
the next essence type on the spectrum is the one that's right in between all of them, right in the middle. It's the classic. And the classic has a perfect 50-50 blend of yin and yang. And how that manifests, how you recognize a classic, is that balance. You see them and you're like, they're like a princess. There's an elegance, there's a poise, there's a natural grace about them because they have that nice, beautiful blend of roundness and angularity, of not too tall, not too petite. They're really right in the middle, and that creates that sense of harmony and balance.
Pierce Brosnan.
So just you look at him and you're like, handsome man. Like in the dictionary, handsome man, and that's his photo right there.
Oftentimes with a classic, you're not like it's not like there's one particular feature that stands out. It's not like, oh, they have got these big eyes or they've got this like full pouty mouth. It's kind of just like they're just a really pretty person.
Poise, balance. Jisoo from Blackpink is a great example of a classic. Dressing a classic is emphasizing that balance. And so what really looks the best on them is traditional tailoring.
Everything that is cut to the body, right? There's no extreme exaggeration. It's balance, right? My shoulder's here, it's cut to there. My waist is here, it's cut to there.
We just talked about the natural. If you were to compare a natural and a classic and the things that look the best on them, a natural looks the best in things that feel relaxed. On a classic, the same relaxed outfit would feel quite messy on them. It would feel sloppy. It would feel like they didn't try enough.
I mean, so I'm a classic. I think we've revealed this before. I'm a classic, Deb's a natural. And we always, it's funny sometimes when we like try on each other's things. Oftentimes, if I have something that's kind of quite tailored, and I put it on Deb, she looks like she's wearing a uniform. Like it doesn't read chic as much on her. It reads uniform, and just like, it just has a different vibe.
Yeah, it doesn't look powerful as it does on you. On me, it looks kind of the opposite. Like I'm trying to like fit in and try to be like everyone else. Yes. Whereas like my relaxed kind of feeling on Nick,
It looks sloppy.
It looks sloppy. It looks like you didn't try enough. It looked like you didn't comb your hair.
I move and like you, it's interesting. Like you move different, right? Like when we've done this, it's like I feel like I'm like I don't move elegantly. Like it just fights with me. Like our I think I love Birkenstocks on people. Do not look good on me. I think we've tried this on me, right? It's like that's a really good example of like Birkenstocks, like all of Deb's variations look so elevated on her on just like a really chill, cool outfit. On me, I just
they don't look chic. They look like you're just you've given up.
Yeah, I've given up in life.
And as you can see, we are so similar in so many ways. You know, we're the same. We're around the same height.
The same clothing size.
We're both Asian. So it has nothing to do with that. It's really just the vibe that we exude and how the clothes read on you because of that. And that's why the system is so fascinating and so revealing for us.
And then moving on to the next one, it's not quite further down the spectrum. It's actually a different way of categorizing 50-50, yin and yang, but this type is called the gamine, and the 50-50 yin-yang shows up in the gamine in a scattered, staccato way. So it's not blended, The classic is blended. In a gamine, you see the masculine, you see the feminine in a very defined way.
Girlish and boyish
Yeah.
all in one. And so great example is Timothy Chalamet.
Yep.
Great example of a gamine.
Yeah.
He's
got these like
almost feminine, like feline eyes,
but a
right?
very strong masculine jaw.
yes.
Very slight body.
Sparkly.
Sparkle.
Yeah, sparkly quality to them.
One thing I find about gamines is that their energy defies their size.
Mm-hmm.
They're electric.
Yeah.
Audrey Hepburn.
Yep.
Great example. Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Rami Malek.
Mm-hmm.
Emma Watson. Yeah. She's a little bit more delicate, but she still has that youthful, sprightly, sparkly.
Yeah.
It's a little sugar and spice too, right? It's like there's a sweetness and there's a toughness, you know? And you know those people, right? Like those people that are just like a little spice. So how would we dress a gamine given that?
Yeah, in a way that brings forth their high contrast.
Yep. Yep.
So they can carry a lot of accessories.
Yeah, the most. You can keep piling them on.
Piling on. Think of Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars dresses so well for his essence type. He knows exactly who he is.
The hats.
The bandana under the hat, the
necklaces,
jewelry, the sunglasses,
rings,
the
cool shoes.
On, say, a classic, it would be a lot. Think of Pierce Brosnan in that outfit. Like, no.
Yeah, so anything that's like contrasty. So color blocking, right? So you can do the like color here, color here, color here, color here, color here. You can wear all the colors.
Because those broken lines in the outfit are the physical manifestation of your
electricity.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love dressing gamines.
We love dressing gamines. The last essence type is the one that's furthest yin, and that is the romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The romantic. She's all yin. She's got the va-va-voom oftentimes. The
hyper feminine.
Lush and plush.
Lush and plush.
Rounded, right? And also romantic is someone who, like, their femininity is so inherent in them that they can work out forever. They can be lifting weights, they can be doing cardio, but they will always still have somewhat of that, you know, beautiful, pillowy fleshiness about them. Oftentimes, the romantic has kind of sloped shoulders, right? Just the softness.
All boned with a little bit more flesh, you know. And this is independent of your size, your weight. You'll always have a romantic will always have that softness to them. They'll never look angular or bony or muscular. They're gonna always be a little bit soft.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Beyonce, great example. Elvis Presley, male example of a romantic. I read that Leo DiCaprio is also a romantic too.
I see that.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of like roundedness, right? Plushness. And a lot of times there's a gravitas that comes with that too, right? You know, that feminine kind of wisdom and knowledge.
Coming through.
Yes. I find that like we've talked about all the types now on both spectrums. I think a dramatic and a romantic both have gravitas. That's something they have in common, even though their yin-yang balance is the most extreme. They both have that gravitas about them, that feeling of power.
Yeah.
But there's a power and femininity and the power and masculinity. And the romantics' gravitas comes from their sensuality.
Yeah.
So this is the type that can wear the more diaphanous, the flowy, the kind of lighter fabrics, the details that have ruffles or rosettes, you know, all those very feminine things will look beautiful on a romantic. The, you know, the sweetheart neckline, curves.
Lace.
Yeah.
Sheer things. Velvet. So things that have that lush, plush.
That's the Kibbe method.
That's the Kibbe method. Those are the 5 archetypes. And so when we work with our clients and when we lead our workshops, that's all. We really use the Kibbe method as a foundation.
Yeah.
And the reason why we were attracted to this method and we use it so much, it recognizes your intangible qualities.
Yeah.
It recognizes not just your physicality, but your essence, the thing that you exude, that people feel, but they don't see, and the harmony between your inside and out.
Yeah.
And for us, that is so essential to build your personal style upon.
I love that. We always talk about how our approach is less about the clothes and more about the human, right? So understanding yourself, fully owning those qualities, and really, like, I think we've talked about, in the past, a lot of times the approach to style or fashion would be, oh, there are these things we need to hide on you. If you're too busty, here's how you hide that. If you're short, here's how you hide that. We take the opposite approach, right? If you're busty, you're probably a beautiful romantic. Okay, how do we work with that and really celebrate that in a way that feels, natural to who you are, and how do you move through the world in a more confident way, owning that? If you're short, okay, maybe you're a gamine. You probably have that sparkiness to you, or that electricity. How do we bring that out more? How do we create gravitas for you in your own way around that? And so we really believe on the power of shining a light on those things, and not hiding anything, and actually accentuating them and allowing you to really own them and use them to the best of your power and ability to just, be amazing in the world.
And also it puts words and a science to what we see and what our clients often intrinsically feel. And when you're able to put those words like sparkly, electric, or lush, sensual, angular, masculine, if you're able to recognize those qualities in yourself and articulate them, that's the foundation to being empowered to choose the right things to bring those things out.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot, about like the vocabulary matters, like understanding yourself and putting words to it, so then you can be more intentional. We love intentional. Find the words, then be more intentional. It gives a lot of clarity. You can kind of cut through the noise, right? You can still enjoy what's going out there with fashion and influencers and everything out there. But what we love with our approach is that it really helps to cut through the noise and really focus on who are you, and then how are you able to take in those things and make them relevant to you if you want to make them relevant, or if not. But it really gives you that foundational understanding for your own personal style. So we love that. Empowering you. We love that.
We love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you were interested in this approach, this is literally just scratching the surface, just to kind of give you guys an overview of our approach and where we're starting from. But this is kind of what we do in our workshops and in some of the videos that we put out, to make sure that you're following us, you're subscribing, and you can find out about our events and anything that we do online too, where we'll dive deeper into this topic. And obviously reach out to us if you want to learn more directly from us.
So our website is dressingthewoman.com. Instagram at Dressing the Woman, and of course you're on our YouTube, so subscribe to us here too, and we'll see you in the next one.